one-on-one CEO television training. But we're related to a company called Communication Council of America based in Dallas, Texas, which is run by a friend of mine. He founded it 13 years ago. He is now doing companies in which they have concluded, they're way ahead of us in the States, that these communication skills are fundamental management tools, and he will do the whole middle management of a corporation. And I can give you a specific example. Twice now in the last 2 months, I've been down to Cincinnati, Ohio, training one of his clients, which is a company, a huge American company called Battelle Memorial Institute. What it is a giant research firm. President Reagan has chosen 3 potential sites for the storage of nuclear waste in the United States. One in Nevada, one in the state of Washington, and the other in West Texas. Battelle Research has the contract, and it's a $1 billion contract, to investigate the site in West Texas, okay? And what they're doing is assembling their scientists and their engineers and their miners and their geologists from all around the states. These people are going to move down to West Texas to study the site location. As it happens, the site is in a salt dome right underneath the largest freshwater aquifer in that part of the United States. Needless to say, the folks in West Texas are not happy about this whole business. Now, these people are not involved particularly in the nuclear industry. They're scientists. But what we've done all the research in West Texas. We know the legitimate fears and concerns of the folks in West Texas. These are small rural communities. And we can reflect those legitimate fears and concerns to these people who are going to move into West Texas. And we do that. We push them right up against their ethics so they can see that the fears are legitimate, the concerns are legitimate, and then they know how to deal with them properly. And we have now worked, I personally have been involved in the training of 48 of those people now. All told, Communication Council of America will have trained about 120 of them. So it's not just the CEOs, it's anybody that's going to be involved in working in communities.
I'm interested in, when you get down to talking to people about media, are you, in a sense, giving away some of the secrets of the lodge from your
Yeah, have I gone to the other side?
Are you saying...
I suppose a little bit, although...
Are you telling people that media can be managed? Is that part of the process?
Or manipulated. That is not what we're teaching them. Our basic principle is honesty up front even when it hurts, and put your bad news first. And we don't vary from that. We do not teach manipulative techniques. What we do teach, though, is that only a fool will go in and do a live interview with a Pete McGarvey or a Fraser Kelly without having done his or her homework, without knowing what it's like to be in a television studio with a zillion things going on around your head in the middle of a live show, to know what the time constraints are, to know how to get your point of view across effectively. And in the one hand, I always took a certain delight, obviously, from a purely selfish standpoint. He had some bigwig on television, and if he or she were floundering around, well, you know, in a way that made good confrontational television. But in the final analysis, I know you believe this, and I always believed that our responsibility was to get the best quality information out there in the public domain. And if I can convince these people, A, that it's in their interest to be more open, accessible, and accountable, which will make them more willing to participate in the public media, and then to do that effectively, I think the public good is served as well as our company. I really believe that, or I wouldn't do it.
I agree with that entirely. What is going to be the scope of things for Fraser Kelly Corp World Group? You're going to work within Canada exclusively, or worldwide, or what?
Well, I would like to say the world is our oyster. Listen, one thing I have learned from leaving even the competitiveness of journalism is there's nothing focuses the mind like the prospect of poverty. I mean, you go out there, and we're starting from scratch. We're competing with a lot of people. Right now, our focus is to concentrate primarily on the corporate sector in Canada, although we have had a couple of clients in the States so far. And we certainly have no hesitation going back and forth and working in conjunction with Communication Council of America in the States, if that may be, or going down. There's been a couple of situations recently where major Canadian corporations have had functions in the United States. one in particular, which had a 2-day function studying crisis management and what it was. Well, they asked us to put on that presentation in the States for that company. The rest of it is, there's another whole area that we're going to try and develop here that is relatively new to Canada, but again, well used in the United States, called witness skills training. And that is basically first confronting the businessman and woman of today with the reality that there are new powers now in Ottawa and in all the provincial legislatures, powers in this, for instance, House of Commons Finance Committee at Speed Up, powers in the new Combines Tribunal, which, for instance, the Nielsen's people have just been called before, and that they had better be prepared to deal with those bodies, and they're not now, and so there's a way to deal with that properly and to be trained to do that properly.
I wanted to ask, too, you mentioned government. Are
Yes.
we talking about the political end of government, or?
No, I'm
No.
not now. You know how much I have thrived over the years on covering politics and political conventions, and everybody assumed, well, that's the first thing I'm going to do. We have not done any of that yet, and our plan is to stay away from anything that is partisan. However, we have, for instance, been asked to make submissions to 2 or 3 government departments. I maintain that the same demands of more openness and accessibility apply to bureaucrats, senior bureaucrats, as they do the business community. And take, for example, I'm just going to make one up now, the people in the Department of the Environment who are selling, either provincial or federal, have the same needs and the same rights to these communication skills in selling their programs as does the business community or anybody else. So we are bidding on some government work, but yet no partisan work and no intention to get into the partisan politics at all. I love it too much, and secondly, I know it's a mug's game. Politicians come and go, and I'm in here for a longer haul.
Fraser Kelly, now heading up Corp World Group Incorporated. It's an exciting new phase of an exciting life that he's led. Great pleasure to have him with us. I'm Pete McGarvey. Next week, another guest.